Among the 12 zodiac signs, Sagittarius stands out like a breeze of freedom and inspiration. They are born to explore, to live fully, to love with a burning heart, and to learn with a sharp and curious mind. No one can confine a Sagittarius, because for them, freedom is not just a destination, but the very way they breathe each day. So what makes Sagittarius one of the most admirable signs of the zodiac? Let's discover 15 reasons why Sagittarius is not only fascinating but also a precious gift the world is lucky to have. If you've ever encountered someone born under the sign of Sagittarius, you'll immediately feel it. They are a living symbol of freedom and an endless spirit of adventure. Sagittarius cannot stand being confined, nor are they drawn to rigid, predictable stability. They love roads that haven't yet been drawn on maps, experiences no one has ever spoken of, and questions that have no clear answers. In their mind, the world is always bigger than what the eyes can see, and they live with a desire to explore that never fades. That's why, being beside a Sagittarius, you'll always feel yourself being pulled out of your comfort zone. They inspire you to live true to who you are, to believe that you don't have to choose between safety and passion. You can have both, as long as you're willing to take the first step. Freedom, to Sagittarius, is not rebellion. It is the right to live authentically, to love, to learn, and to grow without limits. Have you ever met a Sagittarius like that in your life? Keep reading to discover the second reason. The very thing that makes them philosophers hidden behind a carefree smile. There's something special about Sagittarius that few people notice upon first meeting. The depth of their thinking. Don't let their easygoing nature and occasional humor mislead you. Inside them is a mind that never stops reflecting on the world, on themselves, and on why we exist. Sagittarius are philosophers disguised as wanderers. They can spend hours contemplating a single quote, an abstract concept, or even the meaning of the tiniest moments in life. They don't live unconsciously. They are always seeking a deeper understanding of everything around them. To Sagittarius, life is not just about surface-level experiences. It's a journey to discover the truth. The truth about the world. The truth about humanity. And sometimes, the truth about themselves. Something not everyone dares to face. In conversations with Sagittarius, you'll be surprised by the perspectives they reveal. They don't just make small talk. They guide you into layers of profound meaning. They ask questions that make you reflect, and then smile when your eyes pause, because you've just realized something you never thought of before. That's why they become ideal soul companions, silent teachers, and a light for those lost at life's crossroads. They don't impose beliefs, they awaken thought. And sometimes, just one question from them is enough to change the way you see the world. For Sagittarius, learning never stops. Every person, every place, every culture carries a piece of wisdom they're eager to discover. They are souls full of experience, yet they still carry the heart of a curious child. And that is the very strength that keeps them forever new in the eyes of others. Have you ever had a friend like that? Someone who never forces you to believe anything, but makes you want to think more, feel deeper, and reach further? If so, there's a good chance you've met a Sagittarius. When you step into the world of a Sagittarius, you'll quickly sense something very clear. They give without needing a reason. Generosity, for them, isn't just about material things. It is the openness in their thinking, the kindness in their heart, and their willingness to share what they have. From time and knowledge to their truest feelings. They may not always be by your side every day, but when you need them, they will be there. And not out of pity or obligation, but with genuine, warm, and selfless affection. Helping others brings them happiness. Because they truly believe that life only gains meaning when we live for something greater than ourselves. Sagittarius never calculates when giving. They might tell you about a brilliant idea they've been nurturing, and gladly let you run with it if it suits you more. They might offer you opportunities, connections, or simply a word of advice from their own experience, with a kind of sincerity that's impossible to fake. What's most special is that they don't expect anything in return. They don't keep score. They don't bring it up again. And they certainly don't seek recognition. To Sagittarius, giving is an inner joy, an essential part of their way of life. That kind of generosity, quiet yet powerful, makes them a safe place, a friend you can always return to, and always be welcomed by. Have you ever felt grateful for someone who helped you without expecting anything? Take a moment and look back. Could that person have carried the free-spirited heart of a Sagittarius? If you've ever had a terrible day, try sitting next to a Sagittarius. They don't need to say much, don't need to philosophize the problem. Just with a natural smile and eyes glowing with belief, they make you feel that everything will be okay. Sagittarius optimism doesn't come from acting positive or trying to appear strong. It comes from a deep understanding of life's laws. That sadness is temporary, failure is necessary, and behind every doubt, there's a door that leads to hope. They believe that everyone can overcome their own challenges, and they pass that belief to you, not through theory, but through the vibrant life energy flowing within them. No one denies that life has its dark days. But what makes Sagittarius different is that they always carry a torch inside. Not to push away the darkness, but to remind you that the light is still there. With a Sagittarius, you don't feel pressured to cheer up, but rather healed by their calm and positive presence. Even if it's just a silly joke, a quirky travel story, or a random word of encouragement, it makes you breathe easier, feel lighter, and ready to begin again. Optimism is not naivety. For Sagittarius, optimism is a choice. It is the courage to keep believing, to keep living, no matter what the world brings. Do you need someone to help reignite your belief? Maybe a Sagittarius is already closer than you think. Do you need someone to help reignite your belief? Share this article with a Sagittarius friend, or send it to someone who needs a bit of light on a rainy day. Who knows, maybe you just did something beautiful, just like a Sagittarius often does. If you're looking for someone who always says what you want to hear, then Sagittarius might not be for you. But if you're looking for someone who dares to say what you need to hear, even if it might upset, hurt, or shake you, then there's no one better. Honesty is a core part of how Sagittarius lives. They don't know, or can't accept, a fake way of living. They won't act friendly if it's not genuine. Won't pretend to agree if they don't feel it. And definitely won't hide their thoughts just to please others. Sometimes, that honesty might shock you. But gradually, you'll realize. With a Sagittarius, you don't have to guess. No need to analyze every word. No need to live in a gray area. They may hurt you with the truth, rather than spoil you with lies. And that's why, when a Sagittarius says they believe in you, that they love you, that you're doing well, you can be sure it's from the heart. The world is becoming more and more sugar-coated, with hollow words and surface-level connections. But Sagittarius, even if they sometimes lack subtlety, is the honest voice you need when you feel lost. Do you have the courage to hear the truth? If someone is always honest with you, be grateful. Because you may be lucky enough to have a true Sagittarius in your life. There are people who, simply by being present, make you want to live differently. No need for motivation quotes. No need for lectures. No need to radiate energy, the way they live is inspiration enough. Sagittarius is exactly that kind of person. They live authentically, think big, dream a lot, and are unafraid of failure. They might tell you about the time they quit a stable job to travel around Asia. Not to brag, but to show you that life always offers another path. They might share a personal failure, a pain that once brought him down. And then you'll realize. True strength comes from daring to live, to feel pain, and to rise again. Sagittarius doesn't live to be a role model. They simply live true to themselves. And that's exactly what encourages others. They don't just help you believe in them, they help you believe in yourself. Around them, you'll want to be more real. You'll start trying the things you've always feared. And you'll realize, inspiration doesn't always come from big speeches. It can come from one person who dares to live fully. If someone has ever inspired you, leave them a thank you. Or, share this article as a small gift for the one who helped you believe in yourself. Who knows, you might inspire them one more time. For Sagittarius, life is never complete without exploration. They don't care how much they already know. They care whether they're still curious. Learning, for Sagittarius, is not just about books or school. It's talking with a stranger in a quiet cafe. Wandering through a distant land and jotting down things never heard before. It's seeing the world with wide open eyes. And a heart that never stops asking questions. You'll see them immersed in Western philosophy one day. And the next, lost in Japanese culture. They might study art, music, coding, or how to care for a cactus. All just because they love the joy of discovering something new. With a Sagittarius, boredom is rare. They always have something to share, an intriguing book, a newly explored place, a fresh perspective they're pondering. Their passion for knowledge, for the world, for the depth of human beings, makes them the kind of friend that expands your horizon every time you talk. And even better, they don't keep what they learn to themselves. They share, they retell, they spark curiosity in you. So you too want to learn, to explore, to understand more. Have you been putting off learning something your heart once longed for? Let the Sagittarius spirit remind you, it's never too late to start again. If life were a game of cards, Sagittarius would be the one ready to bet. Not out of recklessness, but out of a deep belief that life is worth the risk. They are not afraid of change, nor do they shy away from starting over. Whether it's work, love, a place to live, or even their lifestyle, if they feel it's time to grow, they won't hesitate. For Sagittarius, taking risks isn't a spontaneous act, it's a life philosophy. They don't leap because they're careless. On the contrary, they analyze, they explore, they create scenarios. And then, they choose to act. While many people are held back by the fear of failure, Sagittarius understands that fear doesn't vanish by avoiding it, but by facing it head on. They're willing to change course even if they're on a stable path. Willing to leave a relationship if it no longer aligns with their values. Willing to say yes to uncertainty simply because they believe experience is the greatest teacher. Courage isn't about being fearless. Courage is about moving forward, even when your heart races and your legs still tremble. And Sagittarius, more than anyone, is living proof of that. If you're standing at a major decision, a turning point, think about how a Sagittarius would choose to live. Who knows, maybe one step forward could open up an entirely new journey. From the outside, many people think Sagittarius only cares about trips, adventures, and laughter. But the truth is, behind that free-spirited nature is a soul of incredible depth. Sagittarius doesn't live to glide over anything. They can laugh out loud at a party, and yet spend hours just sitting and listening to someone who's falling apart inside. They can be deeply moved by a piece of music, a play, or a line of poetry, not for its form, but for the emotion it awakens in them. For Sagittarius, connection doesn't come from polite handshakes, but from genuine moments. The kind of conversations where both people dare to take off their masks. They don't tolerate fake friendships, superficial relationships, or half-hearted love. They will choose someone who lives authentically, even if messy, over someone who tries to be perfect but feels empty inside. And because of that, when a Sagittarius decides to stay with you, they will never do so carelessly. They see you, truly see you, even when you can't fully see yourself. Are you living with your true emotions? Try having one deep conversation with a Sagittarius. You'll realize that real connection doesn't need too many words. Don't be fooled by their free-spirited, spontaneous vibe. Sagittarius has ambition, and even very clear goals for their life. They just don't make a big show of it. They don't flaunt it. They quietly set their sights, and step by step, they move toward it. But what's special is this. Sagittarius ambition doesn't come with obsession over fame or status. They don't strive for success to prove anything to others. They succeed because they want to live fully, with their own capabilities and inner fire. They'll lead a career they love, start a bold project, or pursue a path few people dare to, as long as it truly helps them grow. They don't need anyone's validation, because what gives them true fulfillment isn't the spotlight. It's the growth within. And how lucky it is to have someone like that in your life. They don't boast to pressure you. They gently pull you forward. They're the kind of person who makes you ask, how do I really want to live? If you're exhausted from chasing everyone's expectations, take a step back and learn to live like a Sagittarius, ambitious, but free. Only you can define the success of your own life. There's something you should know before diving deep into a Sagittarius world. They cannot stand anything fake, not even a little. Not because they're harsh, but because they're too honest, too real, and love freedom too much to live in a space full of pretense. Sagittarius doesn't say what they don't mean. They won't keep social ties that feel disconnected. And if something feels off, they won't quietly let it pass. They'll speak up, clarify, and walk away if truth isn't honored. It may sound stubborn, but they're actually the people who help you be most yourself. With Sagittarius, you don't have to force yourself to fit in. You can be clumsy, you can be different, and they'll cherish that. As long as it's real. That honesty might make them seem unpredictable to others. But once you understand them, you'll realize they're not complicated, they just refuse to live a lie. Are you living true to yourself? If there's someone who always tells you the truth, even when it's hard to hear, don't be upset. Be grateful, because you might be lucky enough to be loved by someone brave enough to be honest. Don't confuse Sagittarius' sense of freedom with carelessness, because once you belong to their tribe, they will protect you like a silent warrior. They're not the type to express affection with sweet gestures or overly poetic words. Instead, they act. They quietly stay in the background, watching over you, caring for you, and will show up at exactly the moment you need them. Sometimes even before you realize you do. For Sagittarius, a relationship isn't a binding contract. It's a voluntary responsibility. They may be far away, but their heart always points toward those they love. And if someone threatens their loved ones, they will rise, not loudly, not dramatically, but with enough strength to make anyone think twice. Sagittarius love is like a vast land. You may not see the boundaries, but once you're within it, you will always be sheltered by their unconditional loyalty. Have you ever felt quietly protected by someone? If yes, cherish them, and don't forget to protect them back. In your own way, Sagittarius isn't the type to fall blindly in love. They need emotion, but they also need logic, understanding, and above all, intellectual connection. They fall for those who make them think. They're drawn to deep conversations, where they can explore someone's inner world, and let that person see theirs. A sharp gaze, a sentence that makes them pause and reflect, a witty rebuttal that makes them laugh. Those are the things that stir their heart. Love for Sagittarius isn't just about holding hands under the sunset. It's about endless late-night talks, reading the same book, then debating passionately about the last chapter, dreaming together, learning together, and growing together. They need a partner, not a dependent. They need someone who challenges them, not someone who only admires them. How much of your love is emotional, and how much is intellectual? If you're with a Sagittarius, show them that your soul is just as wide and curious as theirs. Nothing turns a Sagittarius off faster than repetition. They weren't born to live in a boring routine, with days that all look the same. To them, each day should be a new story, even if it's just a small thing. A different route to work, a dish they've never tried, or a spontaneous idea acted on in the blink of an eye. Life with a Sagittarius is an adventure. You don't always have to travel far, as long as the spirit of discovery stays alive. They'll stay too, but if everything becomes too safe, too familiar, too predictable, they'll slowly drift away, not out of resentment, but because their heart can't bear confinement. So, if you want to keep a Sagittarius in your life, help them keep life fresh. Share a bold dream. Suggest a spontaneous road trip. Do something random, just because both of you feel like. Why not? When you're being your true self. Is there a part of you that's wild, impulsive, and surprising? If so, don't hide it. That might be exactly what draws a Sagittarius to you. When a Sagittarius walks into your life, you won't be the same person anymore. Not because they force you to change, but because their presence is like a strong wind, pulling you out of your comfort zone, pulling you toward your truest self. They make you question things, make you dream bigger, make you dare to dream, to try, to live, and one day, you'll realize you've grown, not because you followed them, but because they helped you find your way back to yourself. Sagittarius doesn't always stay, they still have other journeys, other people to touch, but even if they leave, they will leave something behind that can never be erased. A sentence, a memory, a new perspective, an awakening, and when you face one of life's turns, you'll hear their words echoing in your mind. Don't be afraid, just go. Life is waiting. Who has ever changed you just by being in your life? If that person was a Sagittarius, thank them, even with just a small message. They may be far away, but you still carry the light they once left behind. In a world full of limits, expectations, and fear, Sagittarius are the arrows in flight, carrying freedom, wisdom, deep love, and a vibrant will to live. They don't try to be different, but the way they live makes them unlike anyone else. They inspire without speaking. They transform others without controlling. They love wholeheartedly, live authentically, and carry within them a heart brave enough to live, to believe, and to risk, in order to touch what is most true in every human being. If you have a Sagittarius in your life, hold them close. Don't try to keep them with chains, walk beside them in freedom. Because if they're with you, it means they've chosen you, among 1,000 other paths they could have taken. And if you're a Sagittarius reading this, thank you. Thank you for living honestly, for always learning, and for inspiring, simply by being yourself. Does this article remind you of someone in your life? Send it to them, whether they're your Sagittarius friend, your lover, or just someone you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe this one article is enough to make them smile all day. And if you're a Sagittarius, leave us a hello in the comments. We'd love to know how you're living your brightest life.